Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. My cold persists, so my apologies for my... do not adjust your sets. This is actually what I sound like. Anyway, let's talk about one of the many undercard fights on the Bivol-Beterbiev rematch. This is Carlos Adames versus Hamzah Sheeraz. It's for the WBC middleweight title. And as I've said before with the others, it could be a standalone main event. It's a very, very good matchup. You have Adames, 24 wins with 18 KOs, 1 points defeat, which came to Patrick Teixeira. That was back in 2019. So it was, what were we in now, 2005, 6 years ago, whatever. No shame in that. Teixeira at the time was 30-1. And that was for is it for the WBO belt or the interim belt or something? I don't know, some international title. I lose track with all these stupid belts. But anyway, no shame in that. Teixeira was very good at the time, and he lost a unanimous 12-round decision, Adames did. So what? You learn from your defeats, you move on, and he's got better. He's definitely got better. I thought his performance, against Sergey Derevyanchenko in 2021 was good. Derevyanchenko much better than his record suggests. He fights everyone. I mean, he's only had, I think at the time he was about 13-3, and I think he's got about 5 defeats on his record now, but he fights anyone, and he's a tough guy. And he won a majority decision over Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko has had a luckless career because he's pushed all these top guys so close to the wire, And then later on, I think it was something like 2025, so 2022 maybe, he fought Julian Williams. Was that 23? It might have been 2023. I'm losing track. But he stopped him in 9 rounds. And if memory serves, Williams was on his feet and protested the stoppage. And in his last fight, Adames was upgraded to WBC middleweight champ. He was the interim champ, I think. And he won a unanimous decision over Terrell Gausha, another one of those guys who, like Derevyanchenko, is a very, very good gatekeeper type, very good fighter. You're not going to stop him unless you hit him with a baseball bat. And Adames did really well. I mean, he's proven himself to have improved since that Teixeira defeat, and has got some good names on his record. He's from the Dominican Republic. He's 30 years of age. 5'11", so tall for the weight, a good size for the weight, and he's an orthodox fighter. Now, Hamzah Sheeraz, if you're from the UK, which obviously I am, is one of those very highly thought of prospects, and I think with good reason. He's 25 years old. He's an orthodox fighter. He's from Ilford in Essex. He's about 6'3", which is very tall for a middleweight. And a lot of people, myself included, have thought he's going to outgrow the division. I mean, he's because he's big with it. He's broad-shouldered and he's a tough-looking geezer. He's 21 wins with 17 KOs, no draws, no defeats, and he's going to outgrow. He's going to grow into a 168-pounder. And a lot of people, including me, have said, if he stops off at middleweight and wins a belt, what he doesn't want to do is just hang on to it and keep boiling himself down to 160. There's a tendency to do that because once you win a belt, that's a good financial bargaining chip, obviously. So giving up the belt, looking at things longer term and moving up to a more natural weight division is short term, you're not getting those big paydays. But it's possible at the moment at 25, he can still make the weight, 6'3" middleweight. But if he does beat Adames, and he's got to be careful he doesn't hang on to the belt. I mean, look, he's got Frank Warren behind him. Frank's been in the business for decades. He knows what he's doing. He's got a good team behind him. So I don't think that will happen. But there is a danger that people can stay out of weight for too long. I think we saw it with Josh Taylor, is a very good example. If you look at his record, Sheeraz, you have to ask, well, why is he thought so highly of? Well, his last fight, which was at Wembley Stadium, was That was on the undercard of AJ versus Dubois, and he stopped Tyler Denny, Sheeraz did, in 2 rounds. Now, Tyler Denny is a very good, tough European-level fighter. He was actually the EBU champ, and this was Commonwealth champ, I think, was Sheeraz at the time, and they came in and did a little unification of sorts. And Denny was over in the first round, and then once in the second round, and the referee stopped it. But he was completely outclassed, outgunned. Denny is a good fighter. He came in with like a 19-2-3 record, 33 years old. You could say he's overachieved in his career. I don't know about that. I think he's worked hard and deserves his wins. You know, he was the first person to beat Brad Ray. He beat Brad Pauls, current British champ, over 10. Those were 2 10-round decisions, the Ray fight and the Pauls fight. Macaulay McGowan, he won a split decision over him. That was a pretty decent win. And of course, he beat Felix Cash on a 5-round technical unanimous decision to win the EBU title. No, he didn't win. He didn't win the EBU title. He won it. He won it abroad, didn't he? No, he didn't. He beat a foreigner in England. I can't remember the name of the guy he won the title off. But anyway, he defended it against Cash. And yeah, deservedly so. It was a deserved win. I mean, Cash's career has gone to pot. It really has in the last 3 years. When you consider he stopped Bentley in 3 rounds, that's amazing. Anyway, Sheeraz completely dominated Tyler Denny and made a very good fighter look way out of his depth, which he was. He also knocked out what was left of Liam Williams in 1 round. Williams was shot, to be honest with you. But his most impressive performance probably was in stopping Austin Williams in 11 rounds. Williams was undefeated, highly touted American. This was over in Riyadh on the 5 versus 5 last year. And that was a good performance. And Austin Williams, actually, I think it was the first round, he kind of shook Hamzah with, he's a good fighter, Williams. He shook Hamzah Sheeraz. And really, you thought, hang on a minute, I wonder if this is a portent of things to come, but not a bit of it, because Hamzah went back to his boxing, stuck to his, kept his shape, stuck to his boxing, used those long levers, used his feet. Was, as I keep saying, you don't have to be. You can be back-footed and be very aggressive, and that's exactly what he was. And then when he softened up Williams, he started to go forward a bit more, beat up Williams, and Williams by the end of it was hanging on for dear life. He was down in the 10th, Williams, and then in the 11th he poured it all on Sheeraz to try and sort of, make up. He knew he was behind, and Sheeraz just covered up, soaked up what little punishment there was, and then went to work and stopped Williams on his feet. It was a very, very good performance, very mature performance by a young man who at the time I think was only about 24. Now, when you throw in decent wins on the way, I like the way Sheeraz was brought along, because he was facing decent domestic level fighters who were going to give you a little bit of an argument if you're not on your game, like Jez Smith, River Wilson, Bent. He got rid of them in a couple of rounds apiece. He also had a controversial win over Bradley Skeet, who was at the end of his career, where he stopped Skeet in 9 rounds. But Skeet was hit on the floor in the 8th round. And in my opinion, Sheeraz should have been disqualified. Okay, he definitely hit Skeet on the floor. And he probably didn't recover. And Sheeraz stopped him in the next round. And I think Skeet retired after that. That was in 2021. So he had a little brush with destiny there. He could have a defeat on his record, but he got away with it. And he's done really, really well. Been brought on really, really well, as you would expect with a Queensbury fighter. Frank Warren knows how to bring fighters on. So that brings us to the question: how's this fight going to go? Well, ADAMES again. You're not going to match. You're not going to match. Sheeraz for dimensions. ADAMES is 5'11", Sheeraz is 6'3". ADAMES, has he faced anyone that tall, that big? No, I don't think he has. Not that I know of, anyway. And if you know different, you tell me. But he does have good experience against people like Terrell Gausha, Julian Williams, Derevyanchenko. These are good wins, very good wins against, B-level fighters, good quality B-level fighters. And Sheeraz, although I wouldn't say he was untested, I think the Williams fight proved that he's not untested. Nevertheless, I think you have to give the quality of opposition to ADAMES. So the question, I think, the key to this fight is Sheeraz going to show ADAMES someone he hasn't seen before? And if so, is ADAMES going to be able to handle it? Now, I think he will. I think Sheeraz will show ADAMES something he hasn't seen before. I think because of the sheer dimensions and also the punching power, because there's no doubt that Hamzah Sheeraz does punch very, very hard. Okay, and he's 20. I mean, he's 25 years old, so you could argue he hasn't filled out properly yet. Which is what I was saying about him moving up in weight maybe later on. I think that he's definitely going to. He's got to be cautious in the opening rounds. I mean, ADAMES is a decent sort of pressure boxer. He's got decent skills, good skills. Doesn't have a tremendous amount of power. Although he has got 18 wins in 24 KOs. So you could say, well, does that flatter him, or is it? Does he actually hit harder than perhaps we think? Because don't forget, Gausha took him the distance. He stopped Williams. Derevyanchenko took him to a majority decision. I think that's a question mark. The power of ADAMES, how's Sheeraz going to soak that up? But how is ADAMES going to soak up Sheeraz's power? Now, I think Sheeraz needs to settle into this fight quite quickly. And he'll do that, I think, by using the jab, consistently using the jab early on. Don't hang too much off the jab, not necessarily early on for any, hooking off the jab or bringing the right hand over. Just, get the range, control the distance. He'll want to keep it long range, probably, Sheeraz, because of his height and reach. ADAMES he's going to try and make it so that it's ADAMES' job to get in close and start working. And I think ADAMES in the first half of the fight might struggle with this. Now, in the second half of the fight, it depends on whether ADAMES has been allowed to fight at his own pace, because you can be losing rounds, but in a sense winning the fight because you're fighting at your own pace, you're getting closer, you're creeping up. If you're forced to fight at a pace, a distance, a style that you're not happy with for 6 rounds, you can be still in the fight, but you're actually losing the fight, because you're not doing what you want to do. You're doing what the other guy wants to do. Do they call this ring generalship? Perhaps they do. So I think it depends on this first 6 rounds. Is Sheeraz going to control the distance, contain ADAMES? I think he will. And I think in the second half of the fight, Sheeraz will begin to get a little bit more cavalier. Like I say, start bringing the right hand over, because that's his pet punch. He might bring it over after maybe 4 rounds, 3-4 rounds, start to sort of experiment with it. Boom, boom. Sheeraz is an aggressive fighter, but he mustn't get sloppy. And I think in the second half of the fight, you'll probably see Sheeraz take over the fight against a very game and a very dangerous ADAMES. Don't forget, ADAMES, 30 years of age, big, strong lad, strong lad. Has seen it all before, has faced good people. I say seen it all before. I don't know whether he's seen a 6'3" middleweight who hits hard and has good skills. But I do think that Sheeraz will be able to control the middle rounds. So let's say the first 4 rounds, middle round, then you've got middle rounds, which is 5 to 8, then you've got 9 to 12. It's a difficult fight to predict. In the last third of the fight, I think the fight might be won. Do you know what? I'm doing this on a hunch, but I've got a feeling that Sheeraz might be able to possibly I wouldn't say knock the fight out of ADAMES, but he'll contain him and control him. And then in the final third of the fight, I think he might even be able to stop ADAMES. Wouldn't surprise me at all. ADAMES never stopped before, but I've got a feeling Sheeraz might be able to stop him in the last third of the fight. I think ADAMES will be dangerous for as long as he's standing upright, but it might even be he stops ADAMES on his feet. It puts him over, ADAMES gets up, fights back, looks dangerous, but somehow Sheeraz controls him. And yeah, I'm going to go for I don't say this with any confidence at all, but I'm going to go for Sheeraz to win this on a stoppage, around about 8 or 9 rounds, you know. Maybe a bit later, last third of the fight. A stoppage, though. I'm going to go for Sheeraz to stop ADAMES. And he'll have to walk through a few rounds of heavy artillery. I think ADAMES is going to be a nuisance. He's going to be, when he gets up close to Sheeraz, he's going to try and outmuscle him and put some serious weight on him. But I think Sheeraz hits hard, and I think coming in, he's going to get clipped a bit too much, and it'll soften him up, and then I think Sheeraz will lower the boom, like I say, about 8 or 9 rounds, roughly. So that's my completely unconfident pick. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. It is a good matchup, and the best matchups are always the ones where you can't predict the winner, and I cannot really predict with any confidence the winner, but I'm going to go with Sheeraz. Could be ADAMES, you just don't know. But let me know what you think, and let me know why you think the person you're picking is going to do the job. Let me know that, all right? All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you're new to the channel, you could subscribe. That would be a big deal. And give the like button a smash as well, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. It's going to be a good one, isn't this Riyadh card? What an amazing card. We've died and gone to fistic heaven, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye for now.